Good afternoon and welcome everyone. I am joined today by our OPP Detachment Commander, Inspector Mary Shannon, and Collingwood Fire Chief Ross PARR, who will speak with you shortly. And I have the use of a hockey stick today because we are here to make sure that people understand the necessity for social distancing. So as I swing around with my hockey stick, I'm making sure that I have adequate space between myself and the others around me. And I'm doing this not only for my own personal protection, but for the protection of my colleagues, for the protection of my community, and for the safety of our residents. It is not business as usual at Town Hall, but it is certainly all business. And I want to assure the residents of Collingwood that our council and our staff are working tirelessly to make sure that we protect your health and your safety and our community in these very challenging times. We've been in contact with the County of Simcoe and upper levels of government and are working with those governments to make sure that we are accessing all programs available and making those programs accessible to our residents. And this morning we hosted a webinar with a Strategy Corp to look at ways for our local businesses and residents to access the upper level government relief programs. Our CAO has been in constant contact with the CEO of the hospital, and we are working together with our healthcare providers to make sure that we are doing everything we can to support our healthcare providers and our hospital as we face this virus. The best way to control the spread of COVID-19 is quite simple. It is to stay home. It is to stay in your house, to stay away from public places, and to make sure that you practice safe social protocols when you are out on essential errands only. That means you need to keep the distance, as I demonstrated with the hockey stick, 6 feet between yourself and other people. And then you make sure when you get home that you wash your hands and use hand sanitizer and cough into your sleeve. But the very bottom line is we must stay at home. And if you have been away out of the country in the last while and are symptomatic, then it needs to be complete isolation. And that means not leaving your home. For everyone else, you may leave your home, but only when absolutely necessary. It is essential that we control the spread of this virus and that we flatten the curve. It's a matter of personal safety, it's a matter of community safety, and as we are now beginning to see across our country, it is becoming a matter of life and death. It is that simple. Stay at home. Collingwood is a strong, compassionate community. We are resilient. We have faced these types of threats in the past. We have faced world wars, we have faced the Depression, and we faced the closure of our main industry in 1986. And on every occasion we have prevailed. And I have no doubt we will prevail again. And we will prevail because we are a community that cares about each other, a community that is responsible, and a community that works together. And I have seen that demonstrated to me over the last 2 weeks. I have been contacted by our service clubs who want to know how they can help. I have been contacted by residents with suggestions and ideas of how we can protect ourselves and how we can serve our neighbors by either delivering groceries or doing errands for those that are in self-isolation or are vulnerable. I have seen it from local businesses that have retooled to make hand sanitizer, who have provided glass partitions to the hospital for temporary facilities, who have retooled to make surgical masks, who have retooled to make face masks. These are all acts of incredible heroism, in my opinion, and selflessness, and they define our community, and it is those type of acts that will draw this community together and will help us through this crisis. We are a community that will prevail, and I am encouraging everybody to do the simple thing, to stay home, to stay healthy, and to stay safe. Thank you very much. And I'll now look to Detachment Commander Mary Shannon.
So good afternoon. On behalf of the Ontario Provincial Police, I just want to reassure the residents of Collingwood and the Blue Mountain that our police service is out in full force looking after both of our communities during these unprecedented times. If I can echo any message, it is to please take the message as it refers to the emergency order and please, people, stay at home. We have not reached the peak yet with regards to people that have been infected, and it's critical at this stage to really minimize our contacts and to really only go out for what is absolutely essential for any interactions. With regards to OPP response, please only use the 911 if you're calling to report an emergency. For any reports of violations of self-isolation or congregations of groups larger than 5, please use the 1-888-310-1122 to report such infractions, and our officers, with the engagement of bylaw, will follow up calls of this nature. I ask that you respect our officers. These are difficult times. Our officers have families to return home to, so we want to minimize their contacts day in and day out when they are in our communities to serve and to protect. So please, again, respect the self-isolation and only go out when it is absolutely essential. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Again, trying to say what the mayor said, stay at home. If you have to go out, practice physical distancing. I know some people call it social distancing, but maintain that 6 feet between everybody. As far as the Collingwood Fire Department, it's business as usual. We're there to help anytime you're needed or needed us. And same practices, call 911, or there is the office line which people are used to phoning. If we arrive at your house and we ask a few questions, please be honest with the firefighters. This way we can assist you in the best and timely manner in protecting our staff. Again, I say it again, please stay at home. Thank you.
We're now open for questions.
So there's a meeting on Wednesday, and Collingwood residents expect sort of further measures.
Yes, we're looking at primarily one of the main things on the agenda will be the Economic Recovery and Support Task Force. We're looking at naming the members of that task force, getting the terms of reference approved so that that committee can get working. We are looking at ways that we can assist the public in the immediate future as we look at the federal and provincial packages. While they're ambitious and that they will hopefully serve the needs they're directed to service, there's going to be an implementation period. And so the issue is, are further steps needed at this ground level in our municipality to assist those that are in need while these other higher level government packages are being unfolded?
For Mary, do you want to?
Yep, absolutely.
Because there has been talk about the forming police, forming bylaw, and basically how do you balance that between maintaining, keeping the public safe and not having this turn into a snitch one?
Right, so we've got a tiered response. We've been actively engaged with our bylaw partners, and this really is a collaborative approach, and we're looking at a tiered response. So quite honestly, our first point of contact, we're absolutely looking to educate, and I can say to date that that preliminary approach has heeded the response that we've been looking for. So for the most part, when we share the reason and rationale for the legislation, we see compliance. We have not had to elevate it beyond that level, but we're having regular engagements with both of our municipalities, with their bylaw officers, to make sure that our response is adequate and that we are seeing the measures that we hope for. I don't have an exact number, but if you give me a shout, I can get them for you.
If I could just add to what the inspector said, our bylaw, and staff have been working very hard. The playgrounds are fenced off, physically fenced off. The skate park is physically fenced off. We have locked the dog parks. The trails are open, and if people use the trails, we ask that they practice safe social or physical distancing. And we will probably be putting in place other measures to fence off benches and tables, picnic benches, because it's just so critical that people stay at home, and when they're out, they need to respect the proper social distancing to control the spread of this disease.
Has there been any discussion with the school boards with them fencing off any of their playground zones?
Not that.
I have noticed that their playgrounds continue to be open.
Yes, I had a call this morning, so I think that's something that staff is looking into, and I'd have to follow up on that.
Has the bylaw dealt with any non-essential business openings in the last?
We have, and as this essential services list rolls out, there are categories that continue to evolve. So, for example, there's a furniture store in Collingwood that's closed as non-essential, but in Clearview Township, there's a furniture store that's open because they repair appliances, and that's deemed an essential service. So while it may on the face of it look as if there's a contradiction or inconsistency there is in fact a basis for it, and as our bylaw officers work through that, we uncover or discover those various essential tasks. All right, thanks very much, everyone.